I'm continuing on with the World's Best Dad Father's Day album using the Bo Bunny Timepiece collection, and in this video I'm going to do the second chipboard piece and the second envelope. And I'm starting by cutting a die cut from the collection and inking the edges with the archival ink in the coffee color. And the die cut says branches of our tree. And then I'm also cutting out from the paper a little heart, and I'm going to ink the edges of the heart in the archival ink in coffee as well. And I'm just adding a glue dot to the back of the heart because I'm going to wrap some hemp string around the heart 3 times, and the glue dot just keeps the string from sliding around while I'm wrapping it. It's not really all that functional. And then when I'm done wrapping, I'm going to add a couple staples with the tiny attacher. And then I'm just adding some pop dots to the back of the heart because that's how I'm going to be adhering them later. So now that that's set aside, I'm going to take my photo mat with the photo corners, and it's been put on dimensional adhesive. And so I'm going to have this die cut from the collection half on and half off the photo mat. So what I've done is I flipped it over, end over, top over bottom, and I'm marking with a pen where it overlaps the photo mat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put score tape on the back of the die cut where it overlaps the photo mat, and foam tape on the back of the die cut where it doesn't overlap the photo mat. And that way it will be level all the way across. So adhering down the photo mat now with the foam tape, and then I'll be removing just the backing from the foam tape and leaving the backing on the score tape and putting it down. And then after a photo has been added to this mat, the score tape backing can be peeled off and the mat can be adhered directly to the photo. Then I'm just going to take my heart and adhere it to the corner of my die cut. And lastly, adding a key from the Life's Journey collection, and I'm just going to carefully lift up the key so that I know that no hot glue leaks out from underneath the key and adheres that whole thing down to the photo mat. I want to make sure that you can still slide photos underneath it. And now that completes that page of the album, Branches of Our Tree. So I'm going to flip it over to the reverse, and I'm start by adhering down my photo mat. And then this is a sticker from the collection that I've actually cut in half, or rather 1/3 and 2/3 really. And I'm putting the left side on this page, and I'm going to use the right side on another page in the album. Then I'm going to take this love adage ticket, and I'm going to cut. At first I thought I would overlap the photo, but then I didn't want to do that. So I'm just going to cut the end off with my scissors so I can stick it under the photo mat. And I'm just going to adhere it under the photo mat after I ink the edges in the archival coffee ink and add a brad to the center of the O. And I'm going to use a red heart-shaped brad. Again, pulling out more of the red from the collection itself. I just pierced a hole in the center of the O and adding a small red heart-shaped brad. And then I'm going to adhere the whole thing down to the layout. Again, tucking it slightly under the photo mat for a layered look. And then I wanted to add an additional embellishment, and since there were clocks on the sticker I used, I went ahead and chose gears, and these are Tim Holtz gears, and I'm just sticking them down with hot glue, 3 of them, forming a triangle around the photo mat. And now I'm moving on to the next page, which is one of those envelopes. And I'm going to do a lot of stamping with the 7 Gypsies journal stamp sets, one of my favorite stamp sets. I'm going to stamp a journaling spot in the bottom left corner. And again, all my stamping is being done with that coffee ink, except for here I'm using Color Box Fluid Chalk ink in warm red. And I'm going to stamp Things I Love in the top of the journaling spot. so it'll be a record of things I love. And then I'm going to take, again from the same set, this snapshots photo. So it now becomes snapshots of the things that I love. So the idea is that inside the envelope, put snapshots of the things you love. And then because the envelope has the word snapshots on it, I decided to use this die cut from the collection that has a woman on it. And I need to tuck it under that circle, so I'm just marking where that metal circle is that holds the string, and I'm going to punch out that metal circle so that I can tuck the die cut underneath it. And then I'm going to ink the edges with the archival ink in the coffee color, and then I'm going to add a liquid glue, the Beacon 3-in-1, and slide it under that metal circle and adhere it down to the envelope. And I like adhering things in layers under and on top of each other because that just gives you more texture and more dimension, and it has more of a look of things coming together over time, which I really like. And then I'm just going around all the edges of the envelope with the coffee ink to frame out the whole envelope. And lastly, I'm just going to add another one of the Life's Journey keys just to pull some more metal on there. And then that's that for that envelope. So I'm now going to cover the entire envelope that I just finished with the blue painter's tape, the Scotch blue painter's tape, and like I said, I'm literally going to cover the entire surface with the blue painter's tape, and then I'm going to trim the tape around the edges. And then it's because I want to use a Prima stencil on the back. This is a houndstooth stencil from Prima, and the way I use the Prima stencils, they come on a post, and I just rip the post out, and then I adhere them to the project I'm working on with the Krylon Easy Tack repositionable spray adhesive, and that really helps get a crisp image because they don't slide around. So I use the Vintage Photo ink to ink up the stencil, and then I went and sprayed over it in the suede ink as well, or the sprayed glimmer mist rather. And now you can see when I peel it off that it's a very crisp image, and that's because the stencil was glued down. And then here I just lined it up again and done another row, and then I'm going around the whole outside with the coffee ink. And now while that dries, I'm going to go ahead and work on the photo mat for the inside of the pocket. So I'm gluing 2 pieces of the paper from the collection together, and then using a liquid glue, and then I'm going to go around the edges with the coffee ink and give them a nice crisp brown, dark brown edge. And then on the front side, I'm going to add another photo mat. And again, all the photo mats are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, so a 3 by 4 photo can go on top. I'm just going to use the Beacon 3-in-1 glue to glue this down. And the only photo mats in the album that don't have the photo corners are the ones that go in these pockets, these envelopes, and that's just because I don't want it to be too bulky inside the envelope or get stuck inside the envelope, so I've left them pretty plain. And then I have added this Bliss adage ticket and just inked the edges a little bit. And now moving on to the back, I have this photo mat here, so the distressed leather look, and that I've inked, and I'm going to adhere with a liquid glue. And then this page is also going to have a sticker on it, and the sticker is going to be from the collection, and it's going to be part on and part off the photo mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually adhere part of the sticker that I want to overlap the photo to a piece of pattern paper from the collection and cut that out so that where the sticker overlaps is not going to stick down. The paper will keep it from sticking down. And now that the envelope is dry, I'm going to go around to the back, and I'm going to decorate the back of the envelope, and I'm going to be using a die cut from the collection that reads "A Step Back in Time," and I'm also going to be using the other half of the sticker that I used at the beginning of the video, and I'm just inking everything up with the coffee colored ink to start. And I'm using my Nestabilities Label 16 on this page. I'm using one of the dies to cut out some of this striped pattern paper from the collection, and then another one to cut out a piece of grid paper for journaling. And this is going to create the only journaling spot in the album. And I wanted the album to focus primarily on photos and not as much on journaling. So there's just the one journaling spot in this album. And I'm going to adhere the journaling spot to the frame with liquid glue. And then I'm putting down the sticker. Again, this is the sticker, the other part of the sticker I used earlier in the book. And then I've used dimensional adhesive to stick down the journaling spot mat. And again, just trying to overlap the layout. And now I'm adhering down the frame with the liquid glue. And I've prepped another heart. I've just cut another heart out of the collection, inked it up, and added a few decorative staples. And I'm just going to add that with some dimensional adhesive. And then that finishes off that envelope. So stay tuned for the next part where I'll do the last page and the last envelope.